today we are starting a new series on my channel. It probably won't be a series I do quite often, but I will still do it every once in a while, and it's called Clear. So today's Clear will be about my Libby holds. I have quite a bit of Libby holds, and I need to get rid of them. It's giving me anxiety. So let's get into them. Okay, I'm on my Libby right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 7 books on my Libby. Oop. And I need to get rid of them. So here are the 7 books that are on my Libby. I have The Keeper of Night by Kylie Lee Baker, and I really want to read it, and I want to read more books from my physical TBR. That's the goal. That's why I put some more books on hold, and this is one of them. I have Death at Morning House by Maureen Johnson. I've read all of the Truly Devious series books for her, and I love them and I adore them, so I have to read the rest. This is not from that, but this is from her, and I love her books, so I will be reading that. We Are All So Good at Smiling by Amber McBride. Now, this book right here, she has written one of my favorite books of all time. Like, if you ask me what my top 5, top 10 books are, the book that she wrote would be in it. It is called Me Moth, and I love it and adore it. I recommend it to everybody, and everybody who has read it that I've recommended to also enjoyed it and loved it. So I do want to read this. If I read this, this will be annotated. His Only Wife by Peace Adzomedi. And I don't really know what it's about, but I got this for a gift by my mother when she went like thrift book shopping, so I have that as well. Then I have Me Before You by Jojo Moyes. And I know everybody has heard this book or watched the movie, and I want to as well, so here we go. And lastly, we have, well, second to last, we have The Final Strife. This is by Sarah El Arafi. I hope I said that correctly. And I think a lot of people have heard of this book as well. And the last book I have is just an audiobook, and it's called Murder in Binding. This is book 1. When my mom went thrift shopping, she knows I like long, drawn-out series. She got me a book from this series, but it was book 11. So I need to read books 1 through 10, and I'm not going to buy them, especially if I don't like them. So I'm going to get them from the library or Libby, and that's what I'm going to do. So those are all the books. Now here are some of the rules for said challenge, the Clear Challenge. You have to clear off your Libby sheet. Anything new that comes up after starting this video does not count, but all the things I just showed you do count. Now you can get rid of them by just returning them without reading them, by DNFing the book so you don't need the audiobook no more, by finishing the audiobook. You can get rid of them however you want to, but if you don't read them, they go back on the shelves and you're gonna have to put them back on hold anyways. I've put like 2 of these books back on hold already, so I do kind of want to read them now, just so I don't have to put them back on hold. And I think I'm going to start with the Amber McBride book and the book I only have on audio, mainly because one of them is only 4 hours long because Amber McBride writes in verse, and the audiobook I could do while I'm doing a puzzle or anything like that. So I think that's what I'm going to do. And I'll see you whenever I pick which book I'm going to read first. Hi everyone. I just got my PC set up like a week ago. So I've had my PC for a week now, and I'm very excited. That means I'm going to start doing reading sprints soon, which I'm very excited about. But look, I'm playing Sims and I have a PC set up. So I think I'm going to listen to a little bit of Murder is Binding, and while also doing some Sims or just doing some work on this computer, because I don't think I'll be playing Sims for that long after this, but I'll be doing some work and things, but I'll listen to Murder is Binding on it as well. And then I'm going to start We're Also Good at Smiling because that won't take me long, but I also want to annotate that book. So those are the things I will be doing. So yeah, let's get into it. guys, so since we have last spoken, I have finished. We are also good at smiling, and I think I'm going to give this book a 5-star, but it's just not the same 5-star as Meemaw, because Meemaw is one of my all-time favorite books ever in life. But this book is so good. I annotated it. I'm going to make sure you can see them. I want to read you the synopsis of this book. And if this doesn't make you want to read this book, oh my gosh. Whimsy is back in the hospital for treatment of clinical depression. When she meets a boy named Fairy, she recognizes they both have magic in the marrow of their bones. Even though she writes synopsis is crazy. Okay. After they are released, Fairy and his family move to the same neighborhood as Whimsy. The two friends come to realize that their lifelines may have been twined and untwined many times before. They are both terrified of the forest at the end of the Marsh Creek Lane. The forest whispers to Whimsy the forest might hold the answers to the part of Fairy he feels is missing. They discover that the forest holds monsters, fairy tales, and the pain that they have both been running from for the past 11 years. And soon they understand that the only way out is through. Here is a harrowing, soulful novel in verse about depression, friendship, fairy tales, and how we are never as alone as we believe we are. This woman, wait, let me make sure their pronouns are woman and like she, her, and all the things. It doesn't say. So this person knows how to write emotions so amazingly, so vividly that you can see. And like her books give this sense of anxiety. You want to know so bad what happened. It's like she writes in a way that makes you feel like there's something in the back of your mind that you've forgotten, but you know it's there. You have the clues, but you just can't put your finger on it. And then at the end of the book, it's like she has perfectly put your finger on the answer to the question. And that is an amazing thing to do. So I'm going to read you one or two verses. I'm trying to do verses that are near the top because she writes in a way that reveals so many different things, and it's like I don't want to spoil anything. Oh, okay. Everyone is silent, and I hope they get the point, which of course is my brain is still a brain, with or without serotonin, but we think too much. We need to remember that the mind is still a mind, floating like a newborn cloud, or bird wings drowning in hardened chocolate. My point is that a leaf knows it's important. At all moments of its life, even when it is broken, people always forget that a rough day, a bad year, doesn't equal a bad life. She is an amazing writer. She will always be one of those auto-buy writers for me. She will always be amazing, and I think she deserves more acknowledgement, more respect, more everything, because I feel like there's so many people out in the world who need books like this, but they don't know that they exist. They don't know that you can get catharsis from a book that has fairy tales in it, that has magic and whimsy. It's just a beautiful thing. It's just a beautiful thing. And they're written in verse. So if you're not a big reader, if you don't like reading too thick of books, if you love poetry, this is a great option. If you just want another book to pad your Goodreads goal, but you want it to be meaningful, this is the way to do it. I just love this book so much. I'm happy that I read it. She's an amazing writer. But also, read Meemaw. It's a top tier book. Now, I have also started Murder is Binding. I am 18% through that book. I'm just listening to the audio of that one. And I have to pee, so we have to go. But, yeah. So I'm already one down. I've already returned. We are also good at smiling. So, yeah. Now we have one less book on the Libby list. Woo! officially finished Murder is Binding. I'm gonna give it like a 2.5. It wasn't great. Um, the first thing I have a problem with is that they used the R word a couple of times, um, dealing with like mental health things, the word I'm talking about. Um, and they also, I just didn't like a lot of the characters. A lot of the characters were very annoying. Specifically, one of the like main side characters was very annoying. Um, I didn't really. The main character was fine, I guess, but I don't know. I wasn't as into it as I thought I would be. I don't know what I'm going to do about the 11th book in the series that I own. But I also just read one book. They could get better. I do not know. But for right now, the series is not a top priority whatsoever. But so I still have 5 books on this list. I have The Final Strife, Death at Morning House, Me Before You, His Only Wife, and The Keeper of the Night. Which all 5 of those are right here. Are right here. And I'm very excited to read them. And I hope that I like them all, because this series I really want to read. I'm very excited to read this one. This one, the movie is top tier in my opinion, so I'm hoping the book is just top tier. I don't know anything about this, but this sounds like Crazy Rich Asians. I think the prompt for it was Crazy Rich Asians, but instead of Asians, it's Nigerians, I believe. And then this author, I've loved every book by her, so I'm hoping to love this one. And this one just looks nice. And I heard about this book years ago on BookTube, and I heard about it from a couple of people, but most people didn't read it. So I just want to have my own opinions on it. And I have book 1 and book 2, so I'm hoping I like it. And it's not that long of a book. It has big font. So I'm hoping I really enjoy it. But that's 2 out of 7 done. I think that's all for today. So you'll have to see me from a different day. Okay? Goodbye. So, let me tell you about my day so far. I woke up at 6 a.m. to a tornado warning if you saw the B-roll, that was when the rain was light. That B-roll. That was at 6, maybe 7 a.m. So I woke up at 6 a.m. I edited a whole YouTube video. I brushed my teeth, ate breakfast, and I started 2 more books for the Clear Libby challenge. So, here's the cover of it. I started the final strife. I'm annotating it. I'm only 5 chapters in. I'm on chapter 6. It's okay so far. Nothing really interesting. I didn't know if I was going to annotate it or not, but I am. And hopefully I have enough annotations for this, because I already have a good little bit of annotations, and I've only read this much of it. So I'm hoping I have enough annotations for it. I own books 1 and 2. And I know it's a trilogy. I really like this. Can you see how the texture it is? It's quite nice. And it's a colored map. We love to see it. I don't really know what's going on plot-wise yet, but I do know that, so there's red bloods, who are the people in power. There's blue bloods, and there's translucent bloods, like clear bloods. And our main character is a clear blood. And clear bloods usually get their tongues and hands cut when they're children, and they're basically slaves their whole life. They're called ghostlings or ghostings. And basically in the story, I'm only 62 pages in. A revolution is gonna start, but I don't know what the revolution. I'm guessing the main character is going to be the leader of the revolution, but I don't know much right now. I honestly don't. Nothing has happened yet. Red is the blood of the elite, of magic, of control. Blue is the blood of the poor, of the workers, of the resistance. Clear is the blood of the slaves, of the crushed, of the invisible. And I believe the main character has clear blood, but her parents or her family made it seem like she has blue blood, so she doesn't have to get her hands and stuff cut off. She's very well trained. I just don't know what she's doing yet. We haven't even met all the characters that are in this description yet. We've met 2 out of the 3, so I don't have much to say yet. Then I also started Me Before You. I thought I was going to be annotating, but I already read a good chunk of it. I'm like 60, almost 70 pages in, and I haven't annotated anything. So I don't think I need to annotate this one. I thought it would be, maybe it will, but it's a good book so far. The only thing, I think this is an English thing. English people, let me know. But y'all's way of comedy is different. Your way of comedy is like making fun of each other, kind of. So I just find her parents and her family members quite mean, because they seem to make fun of her, calling her things like flab and lard butt and all that stuff. I just find that so rude and disrespectful. But I don't know. I think that's just the comedy, especially back in 2009. The prologue takes place in 2007, and the main story takes place in 2009. When was this book released? 2012. Yeah. People in America were still calling each other like gay as an insult and fat and all the things. So, but yeah, I'm let me see what the audiobook says. I'm 16% through the audiobook, and I'm enjoying it fine enough. They're still at the phase where Louisa and Will are at odds. They're not like friends yet, but they've just started to like. She's just like told him off for the first time. If you've watched the movie, she's just told him off for the first time, and he's like, you're a little interesting. So that's how it is now. I can't wait to read this and then watch the movie. That's what I'm excited for. But I feel like I'm gonna cry. So far, obviously, I have so much more of this book, so things are gonna happen, but I might cry later. But right now, I'm not. And I have no need to annotate anything yet either. But, yeah. I do. Don't piss me off with the way that his ex-girlfriend, like, he obviously pushed her away because he's quadriplegic now, and he was, felt horrible about that, so he pushed her away. But don't piss me off by coming to see me after months and months and months with my best friend telling me that y'all are engaged. Don't piss me off. And then don't get mad and sad when I'm the one. And he was like, congratulations. I'm happy for you. Well done. And it's like, you're crying and sad. Even if I wasn't upset, because it doesn't seem like he really is upset. He's like, I wanted to, like, even if we broke up, you still didn't talk to me for months and months and months, and then come out of the blue and tell me that you're engaged to, like, a close friend. How did you think the reaction was gonna go? Like, and she was like, she told Louisa, I've tried for months and he just pushed me away, which I definitely believe. I believe her wholeheartedly about that. But if he pushed you away, what would make you think coming back, telling him that you're engaged to a guy he considered like a friend, what would make you think that was gonna make anything any better? Like, people gotta move on. I get it. But that wasn't helpful to anybody. You wanted closure, but you just didn't get it the way you thought you were gonna get it. You could have just went on without your life, never talked to that man again, to be honest. But maybe that's just me. I'll see you guys when I read more. Bye. Hello, I am halfway through Me Before You, and I am very much enjoying it. I have great things to say about it, actually. The first thing is, I like the way that even though it's about a quadriplegic, am I saying that right? I don't even know if I'm saying that right. Let's just hope I am saying that right. I like that he has lived a life and he's trying to help Louisa live a life as well. The main thing I have a problem with in this book is that at the beginning of her finding out that he plans to end his life in like 6 months, when she finds out, I felt like she was treating it like a game. Like, can I make him happy enough that he won't end his life? But now that I'm reading more of it, I realized that I think at the beginning she did find it kind of like a game. Like, not in like a spiteful way, but like in a no one can really want to end their life type of thing. And I think she's now realizing that pros and cons is the wrong way of saying it, but there's pros and cons of it, because he will never be the same as he used to be. Like, he said, like, she said she wants to go to Paris one day, and he said, I've been to Paris, and he gave her such descriptive view of Paris, and she said, we can go together. And he said, no, I don't want to go back ever again. She said, why? I think we'll have a great time. We won't even need like anybody but you and me. And he said, the imagery I just gave you will never be the same if I go again, because then it will be women looking at me because of my chair, not because I'm handsome. It will be taxi drivers not giving us service because they don't want to
fit the chair into the vehicle. It will be us trying to push a wheelchair down narrow sidewalks. It will be me not be able to fit my wheelchair and my legs underneath a cafe table as easily as before. There's so many things to consider when he is different now, and I think she's realizing that now, that like there's ups and downs. There's people who go through accidents and they find a new lease in life. They find a new path, and they treat things differently now. They have a new way of seeing life. And then there's people who are the opposite, and they feel like life will never be the same, and they don't see the joy of life ever again. And his point of view, he doesn't get a point of view, but his like wanting her to live life to the fullest is very amazing. It's making me think about my life, and that's something I didn't expect from this book, because I knew what the main part of this book was about, right? And I knew like the main parts because of the movie, but it's making me think about my life differently as well, because I love to be lazy. I love to stay in my room and watch TV and read books, and I will never not stop loving those things. But it's making me think tomorrow, like something can happen to me tomorrow, and I won't be able to, because like I have the option now to go outside and go to the club. I would never. But go to the club or whatever. Like this year, I'm taking my first trip out of the country, which I'm very happy about, and I find it amazing. And I'm also wanting to take like a road trip to a city, not to a city, to a state I've never been to in America, right? But before this year, let's just say that, because this year I'm going out the country and I'm trying to travel more, but I'm trying to leave the house more in general this year. But before this, what could I say I have done that's not like academic wise? Because I think I'm very well versed and very accomplished, like school wise and academic wise. But there's other places in my life where I feel like I'm inadequate, and that's a very human thing to think. But it's just making me think differently about what I've done with my life, and that's kind of a scary thing, but also a very amazing thing to think about. Like, you could probably hear the emotion in my voice, because I haven't annotated, because it's not like it's a well written book, but it's not a like a well written, like amazing quotes type book. And honestly, everything I'm saying right now is inferred. Like, obviously you see things playing out, like him talking about Paris, but most of the emotions I have is because of how I've read said book. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think that's amazing that a book can do that. And I do realize that this book is a little 2012ish. It's a little still like, um, I feel like I've never looked at a person with a disability any type of way, honestly. But I also I live in a time where, not that it's common to be disabled, but it's common to look at disabled people as people. And back when this was written for the year 2009, that wasn't the case. So I'm like, why are these people acting like this? But people did act like this. That's why we have whole programs for disabled people. And it's just sad to think that people actually act like this towards people, and it's upsetting. The other things I have to say about this book mainly is I do not like the sister, Louisa's sister, Teresa. There's this whole plot line of like, Teresa was in college. She dropped out of college because she got pregnant. And Louisa was living in like the shoebox of a room. She didn't get much attention from her parents. It's just like, it was all Teresa, Teresa, Teresa. And then when she had her son Thomas, it was Teresa and Thomas, Teresa and Thomas. And they all live in the same home. The mom, the dad, grandfather, Teresa, Thomas, and Louisa, because they're a very low income family. And Teresa worked at a flower shop. Louisa worked at a cafe before the beginning, like right at the beginning of this book. She got fired because he was moving back, and there was still a whole bunch of things going on, right? But the mom stayed at home to take care of the father. The son is also like 4, so he's not doing anything. And the father had a job where he had worked for like 16 plus years, but it was getting shut down. They were letting people go. So um, now Louise is getting paid the most. She has the best job. Her father has gotten fired, and Teresa decided she wanted to go back to school. So her and her son moved like not that far away, but away. And Teresa was like, "Can I have her room now that she's gone or that she's leaving?" And the mom was like, "Makes sense to me." And then Teresa came in and was like, "What about me on the weekends?" Like, Teresa is so self-centered, it's crazy. Like, when Louisa first found out that Will wanted to commit suicide, she was really agitated to work there. So she gave in like her notice, and everybody was like kind of like everybody in the family was upset because they needed that income. But Teresa was like, "You're very selfish. This is so disrespectful. Mom and dad need the paycheck." And Louisa was like, "But you're going back to school and quitting your job. Don't they need your paycheck too?" It's like, it's very upsetting. I've seen this so many times in books and in real life. This sibling dynamic that parents allow, where one child is obviously loved more than the other, even if the parent doesn't say so, it can definitely be shown. And like, Teresa finally came back for the weekend from college with Thomas, and Louisa is now in Teresa's old room, right? Teresa is now in like that small, basically it's like a closet of a room that Louisa used to have. And then the parents have their own room. And I think the grandfather is in a living room. Or he has his own room as well. I don't really know for sure. He just be there, you know? And the first night, Thomas was crying and crying and crying, and he ended up sleeping in the room with Louisa, right? The next night, she went outside to go get some water from the kitchen, and her parents were on the like floor sleeping in a makeshift bed. And she was like, "Why are you guys out here?" And it was because they gave their room to Teresa and Thomas. And I was just like, and Louisa says it so many times in her head. They had one argument that was like, "Get her." I was like, "Get her, Louisa, get her." But Teresa gets everything she ever wanted, and I don't like that at all. I don't like that dynamic, and I understand it's a real life dynamic, obviously, in real human lives, not just in books, but I don't like it, and I don't like reading about it, especially if it's not gonna get fixed by the end. There's no fixing that because Louisa already has trauma from not being as supported or as fawned over as Teresa. But if you're gonna talk about it, I need it to be handled. And handled can be one, cutting communication with family members. I do not mind that at all. Two, having a very honest, thoughtful conversation with the family to discuss how Louisa feels. Um, those are the main two options, to be honest. And then them changing, obviously. Like, you gotta change. But I'm ready for her to break up with her man Patrick, who is played by Neville Longbottom in the movie. But I'm very excited. I'm really enjoying this book. I have around 150 pages left, and it's going good. I'm really enjoying it. I don't have much to say. I'm surprised that the way I'm enjoying it so much, I thought I would be annotating, but I'm not. It just doesn't feel right. You know, you have the annotation bug, or you read the first couple chapters, like, I gotta annotate this. Like, I thought I was gonna have it before I read it, but I don't have it. But I think it's because I need to stay in the moment while I'm reading it. Like, I haven't really put this book down yet, and I'm very happy about that. I'm very much enjoying that. So I will continue to keep on doing this. I'm having a great time reading it, you know? So, yeah. I'm gonna take a little break and then I'm gonna get back into it because I'm very much enjoying this. Bye. I have finished the book, and I am crying. As you can tell, I'm trying. Who knew that this challenge would go like this? I want to throw this book out the window. Oh. I am over it. I didn't think I would cry like this because I know how it ends, you know? Also, it's dark, I'm hot, and I'm sweating. I feel like I'm flashing, y'all, but I have clothes on, I promise. There's too much going on. That's just a lamp. Okay. This book was great. The thing is, I don't even know what to give this book, to be honest. I have finished it. I had the audio. Was that a good option? To hear the letter instead of just reading the letter at the end? I don't know. Oh my goodness. Oh. I haven't cried this hard in a book in a minute. It's been a minute. What's the last book I cried like this at? I'm trying to look at my shelves. I try not to cry like this. The last time I cried like this is when I reread Me Moth by Amber McBride. I still teared up the second time around. That's how you know a book is good. But damn. What are my thoughts? My thoughts are, this book is really good. I really enjoyed it. I really love, I found in these past couple months of reading that I really love romances with grief in them. They're never usually grief like this, though. It's mainly like a parent or a significant other has passed away, and now they're finding love. They're finding how to live with said grief. A lot of books that I like have that in it. This is the first time I've read a book where the two love interests don't end up together for whatever reason. It was really good. I love the way they went about the assisted endings. Because even now in 2025, they're highly decisive. Like, some people feel like it's a way to help people do things safely and to on their own accord, while others think is horrible, it's disgusting, it's an abomination, whatever. But I love how it shows multiple sides of something, because you see some quadruple. Oh my god, my brain is not here for this. You see some quads who get a new lease on life, and you see others who feel like Will, who feel like they will never be themselves again. Oh my goodness, what is happening? I haven't cried like this since I read Dear Martin, I think. I'm crying so hard my back is hurting. It was really good. It was very emotional. It was just really good. She tried so hard, as in Louisa, she tried so hard to make him stay on Earth, and that alone was just sad to watch, because it's like, when someone has made up their mind like that, I've I have a hard time believing they change it, and that is shown in this book. But oh my goodness. Okay, I have nothing else to say. But I have another book finished off of the clear off my Libby. So I have The Final Strife, Death of Mourning House, His Only Wife, and The Keeper of Night still on here. I've started The Final Strife already. I won't finish it today. Probably not even finish it tomorrow, to be honest. Um, but I'll also probably start another one with The Final Strife. I need to collect my thoughts. It was so good though. I think I'm gonna give it a 4.5 to a 5 because I don't know. It just has that 2010s like speak sometimes, but I don't know if that's enough to make it go down to a 4.5, or is the way I'm reacting now enough to be like, girl, just give that a book a 5 and leave it alone. I don't know. But it's either a 4.5 or a 5. Yeah. That was a good cry, but it made me think, this book made me think about my own life. And maybe that was the point in a way, but I might be having a crisis soon. Guys, I'm going through it. Okay. I need to like bungee jump or something. I need to skydive and scuba dive and all that stuff sounds scary and dangerous. I've never wanted to do any of that stuff in my life. Maybe scuba dive. That sounds fun, actually. All right, I might be having a midlife crisis. Nowhere near the mid of my life, but I might be having a quarter life crisis. I'm not even at the quarter of my life. Okay. Okay.
Hello, everyone. It's the next day since the last clip, so I have officially been doing this Libby Clear Challenge since Saturday. It is now Monday, and so I have finished. What have I finished? Me Before You, Murder is Binding, and oh, we are also good at smiling. And I started The Final Strife yesterday, Sunday. And I'm officially on part two. Part two I'm enjoying a lot more, but I'm not really enjoying the book as much as I thought I would be. Right now, if I was to rate it just right now, it would be like a 2.5 to a 3. I'm not enjoying it as much as I thought I would be. Um and I don't know. I don't like, there's three main characters, and the three main characters are Sila, Honor, and Hassa. So Sila is basically a what do they call it? I forgot what they call it. Like a stolen. She is a stolen, which means during the rebellion, which the Dusters are rebelling against the Embers because the Embers are oppressors. They um, oppress Dusters and Ghostings, right? So Sila is a stolen. It's when the first like wave of the rebellion happened. Dusters who have blue blood stole around 20 Ember babies and switched them with Dusters babies. So Sila was one of the ones that was switched. So she technically is an Ember. She was stolen from there. She's an Ember, and she was placed as a Duster. So she's living as a Duster, even though she's an Ember. Honor is the child who she was swapped with. Honor is in the Ember household, but she is a Duster by blood, basically. And then Hassa is a ghosting, and ghostings, I think I mentioned it earlier, their hands and their tongues are cut off when they are babies or children, and they're the closest thing to a slave. They are servants. They're slaves. Um, and I believe they have translucent blood, and I believe that they are rare. And I'm saying I believe because I think that's what's going on, but I'm not 100% sure. So
Don't quote me on any of that, really. And we are at a part where Scylla, who's the cover of this book, she was supposed to sign up for this trial that all people are allowed to sign up for, all embers are allowed to sign up for. And I've heard, I don't even really understand what the trial is for. Maybe I'll get more knowledge on that. I was annotating, I took them out because I was just like, I don't know what's going on. But she found out which parent she was stolen from. So she went to go see them. She went to go see the girl who took her place, which is Honor. And Honor captured her and held her hostage, took her off of Jobaseed, which is like a opioid type drug that she's addicted to because she lives a horrifying life as a duster. And basically, Honor said, I'll let you go if you teach me how to train for this trial, because her mother, who knows she's not technically her daughter and wants and doesn't care for her, didn't want her to do the trials because she's like, you're not an ember, you're not gonna do well anyways. And but she signed up anyways. So she was like, you're going to teach me how to make it far into this trial, and I'll give you whatever you want. And I forgot what Silas said she wanted, but Honor doesn't know that Scylla is the one who's technically her mother's biological daughter. She just thinks she's an assassin who was here to kill her because her mother is so powerful. Um, it's okay so far. I don't have any good or bad. Like, I'm a little confused, but like I said, like one or two chapters into part two, and I'm liking it a little bit more. But at the same time, I'm still like, I don't really know what's going on. So I'm just here for the ride. This book is very thick. Let's see. Um, it's 551 pages. So I have 400 pages left, which it makes me a little bit happy. I thought it was 600 and some change. So I have 400 pages left. My goal is to get to the halfway point, which would be what? Like 275-ish today. Maybe we should round up to 300. I don't know. But 275-ish. That's where my goal is for today. I might start one of the other Libby books as well. I'm thinking I'm going to start My Only Wife by Peace. I can't see from here. Azomedi, I think that's her name. I think I'm going to start that one as well. But yeah, so my goal is to get halfway through this, 50%, and then start and get a good 50 to 100 pages of My Only Wife in as well. And then I'll update you when I can. Now I'm going to go take a shower. Bye. Hi, y'all. So I have officially finished The Final Strife, and I'm going to give it a 4-star. At first, I was thinking, oh no, it's going to be a 2.5, a 3. But after like the 150, 200 mark, I actually started really enjoying it more. I started getting into the story of it a little bit more. So my final rating will be a 4-star. I really enjoyed it. I won't be reading the second one, the Battle Drum. I have that one also right here. And I'll probably read it in a couple months. But I don't want to read it right now. This is thick books back to back, but also I don't have the third one yet, so I would want to buy the third one before I start reading this one, so I can just go into the next one if I want to. But I'm very excited to start a new series that I actually enjoy. I really got into it. I liked the sapphic moments which don't come and play till a while later, but also the way it ended was very good. I really liked the ending of it. It's saying it's bittersweet is weird because there's 2 more books in the series, so it's bittersweet probably because it needs to work out some more things before book 2 and 3, right? Before the real ending. But I think that the ending was very good, and
it left more questions than answers, which is great for a series. And I really enjoyed it, so I'm glad I read this. So let me get my phone. Okay, I have officially finished The Fatal Strafe. I hope you can see that. So I'm going to manage loan and return it early because there's 9 people waiting for it. Return. It is done. So now I have Death at Morning House, His Only Wife, and The Keeper of Night left, which I have right here. So Keeper of Night, Death at Morning House, and His Only Wife, which is the next book I'm going to start. His Only Wife. This one is the closest to having to go back. It's quite a short book. So if I start today, I can probably finish it today. It's 278 pages, which is not bad at all. Saying that, you know, The Final Strife was a thick old girly. But this is on the Reese Book Club. And so far, every book I've read from Reese's Book Club has never been bad. I've never read a bad one from her. So this will be the next one I start. Then it'll be Death at Morning House, then Keeper of the Night last, because that's the one I got last. But yeah, I'm very excited to start this one. We're over halfway through, which is great because I feel like I've been doing this for years. But also, after I read this one, I have reached my goal. Like, my monthly goal is to read around 10 books per month for my physical TBR. Because if I do that every single month, I would barely have a TBR left. And I don't want to have 0 books left in my TBR because you need books to roam through, to feel like a library and to just like go through your books and be like, I feel like reading this today. But I do want to not have a million TBR books. I feel like when I have a lot of TBR books, even though I can see a whole of my TBR because it's all on this bookshelf, except for this one is all red. But this shelf and below are all TBR books. Even though I can see them, I feel like I still get lost in the fray, and I feel like books still get lost in the fray, and sometimes I like overlook a book, and that includes my book cart as well, because my book cart and then the second shelf down are all unread, and sometimes I think things get lost in the fray of me wanting to read everything, but also sometimes not. But if I read around 10 a month, I would have I would say 2 shelves full of unread books, which is not bad at all. And that's even depending on how I stack them and how thick the books are. Because if I read all my chunky girls, I might not even need 2 shelves. You know what I'm saying? But the next will be The Only Wife, His Only Wife, and we'll see how this goes. So, I have a lot to say. I am 80% through His Only Wife, and I am not enjoying it in the slightest. I want to read you the synopsis. A hilarious, page-turning, sharply realized portrait of modern womanhood in the most infuriating of circumstances, a gem of a debut. Maddie writes with a precise rhythm that builds the reader's anticipation, an emotional roller coaster. Hilarious, funny, humorous. So let me tell you what happened in this book. Basically, her father, Affy's father passed away, left them basically poor and broke. So, because they have no good family who does anything out the kindness of their heart, her mother jumped at the first opportunity to basically sell her daughter to a man she doesn't even know so that they could have security. Basically gave her daughter away to the most powerful woman in their town in Ho. And mind you, she gets married at a wedding without a husband. She moves to the big city The reason Ellie's family wanted him to marry her was because Ellie had gone into a relationship with this woman from Liberia, and she basically just didn't do anything that they liked her to do. She then got pregnant, lost a child, had a second one, refuses to leave the home, um, doesn't like any of his family. And honestly, I agree. Mind you, we haven't even met this character, and I'm 80% into the book, and I don't think we ever will, because I don't think that's what the book is about. So then, for like the first 2 months of their marriage, she's living in an apartment alone, hasn't even seen the man. He finally comes one weekend. She's like, wow, things are finally changing. Things are finally looking up. And he leaves the next day. She didn't realize this throughout the book that, oh, he's still seeing her. He has a child by her. He's not leaving her, and she's living in the main house, which is the house that she was supposed to move into after you get married. The main, your marriage house. Mind you, she knew about this woman before they got married, because that's why his family wanted her to marry him. And also in this book, probably still in real life, it's not frowned upon to have multiple wives. It's not at all. So I don't know why she's so upset. Anyways, mind you, I don't even think she know this man's favorite color, his middle name, nothing. And he don't know nothing about her either. They don't talk, nothing. They have no chemistry, nothing. I'm telling you, there is nothing in this book that makes me think they even like each other. Not love, not even lust. And they've had sex, not even lust. I don't even feel that for them. She's like, well, I want to move it. When am I going to move into the main house? When are you going to leave her? When are you going to whatever? He's like, just give me time. I'm working it out. She's very unstable, all this stuff. Him and his family, they're very unstable. Then he comes home and he's with her for a while, like a couple weeks at a time. She's like, wow, oh, he must have finally got her out the house. I really want to move into the main house because I'm starting to fall in love with him. I think I love him. They have sex, and I think that makes her want love even more, to be honest. I don't think nothing is going on in this book that, whatever. Her next door neighbor is her husband's brother's girlfriend, right? And she's like, girl, he didn't send her away. She just is on vacation in America right now. Once she's back, you will still be in this apartment, and she will still be in your marriage house. So she asks him, like, so when am I moving in? And he says, soon, girly pop, soon. And she's like, oh, that's interesting. And they get into an argument, right? And she's like, well, then I'm leaving. I'm leaving to go back to Ho until you make me go to that marriage room, because I love you and I want us to be married to each other and all this stuff. Mind you, again, I don't even think she knows this man's favorite color, his middle name. She has seen this man a total of 14 times, and to be married in only 2 years, for what? For what? So she goes back to her home, Lou's city, and she barely leaves the house. Her mom is angry and upset. She's like, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? I don't have who I'm supposed to be able to look at. This is an embarrassment. You not being with your husband. And all anybody is thinking about is money. Not this girl's well-being, not this girl's relationship, as in are you okay? And even she said to her mother, like, what would you have done if father was never at home and always with another woman, and you stayed in an apartment that was basically like the side chick apartment, even though you're his wife? And she was like, girl, I don't care. I don't care how you feel. I need to be looked after. You don't remember us being poor after your father died? I need to be looked after. And so then I think once the mother of Ellie realized, oh, she's not backing down, she called a meeting type of thing with the family and was like, you
you need to put her in the marriage house. So he does, and it's like they don't even talk. He doesn't even talk to her. He doesn't even talk to her for like, I think she's been living in the house now for 4 months. For the first like month or two, he didn't even look at her. They finally talked to each other. They had sex, and then like a couple weeks later, she finds out that she's pregnant. He gets very excited. They're decent, right? Mind you, they don't sleep in the same room. He sleeps on basically the other side of the house. Like, it's not going well. Mind you, 80% into the book, still like this. And he's talking to her crazy, by the way. Like, crazy. Crazy, by the way. And then she's talking to the same girl who told her the first time, oh yeah, she's just in America, she'll be back, right? The other girl, like, do you not realize that your husband is never home at night? Where do you think he's going? Where do you think he's at? What do you think is happening right now? And she confronts him about it. And he's like, I thought that's what you wanted. You're in the main house. I took you to a party. She said, that's not what I wanted. Like, and then it's like they have a humongous argument the next day. She has a driver because she can't drive. A lot of women can't drive, right? So even the driver starts treating her differently. The maids and servants start treating her differently. Like, they are disgusted by her. Like, she's not the wife, right? Because maybe she isn't. I don't know. So then she was like, so she makes the driver take her to like a driving center so she could start learning how to drive. And the driver snitches on her to him. He's like, I don't think you should start learning how to drive while you're pregnant. That doesn't seem like a deal. She said, well, I'm still going to. And she continues to do so. And then they're having an argument. And she's like, well, he's like, and again, he's like, this is what you wanted. This is what you wanted. You want to be in the marriage house. You wanted to be a wife. Here you are. And she's like, that's not what I wanted. And she's storming upstairs, falls on her stomach, and he's concerned that the baby might be hurt. The baby was fine. And now they're about to have sex. Because I guess like he feels bad. And that's where I was like, okay, let me just update y'all before I just come back in the next clip being like, this is getting unhauled. It's still getting unhauled, regardless of what's in these last 20% of this book. It's still getting unhauled because what the is this? There's nothing. I haven't even puffed air out my nose. It's not funny. It's not humorous. It's not growing, because basically this entire book is just a book of a side chick. It's just, when will he be here? That's stuff that side chicks think of. Yeah, you're the main girly, or at least, and technically, you started off as a side chick because he was with the other one first. So it's like, I don't care that you're sad. I don't care that your parents treat you like your mom treats you horribly, because you were a grown woman who could have just left, because it's not like you have money to begin with. Like, it's not like, and it's just like aggravating because obviously it's a different culture. So this could be how it really goes in Ghana. I wouldn't know, right? However, comma, period, exclamation mark. This is not good. It's not good. It's like the side characters are so well developed, while the main Afi, all I know is that she's a seamstress. She likes to sew. And Eli, he's a businessman. That's it. And he seems like a horrible guy. He seems like he doesn't care about her at all. He seems like he wants two wives, which it seems like that's not a problem in this community. Her uncle, who technically becomes, after like the male figure of your household passes away, like your closest male relatives becomes your father. So her uncle is her father. He has like 3 wives and like a million kids. So it's not a problem, Ellie wanting multiple wives. But I guess she thought she was going to be the only wife. That's why it's called his only wife. But it's not good. It's not good. And I don't care. Like, it's just her, this entire book. This entire book. Let me break it down to this one point. The entire book, or at least this 80% that I have read, is just her doing that speech that Meredith does in Grey's Anatomy. Pick me, choose me, love me, over and over and over and over and over again. That is all this book is about. And I'm 80% through. Like, she even when she said in her head, I'm pregnant, he'll actually stay. Eh? Eh? Oh, don't piss me off. Don't piss me off. Okay, so I have finished His Only Wife. And let me tell you how this book ended. But let me just show you. I have officially finished the book. So I'm going to return it. And I'm never giving it back. I'm never giving it back. Okay. So basically, after I left you guys, what happened? So basically, a year, like around a year passes where like the baby is like, well, not a year, like a couple months passed after she's given birth, and she has like a job going, like a whole boutique going because she's a seamstress and all the things, right? And they seem to have a fine relationship, fine, basic fine, and even she says it's just fine. And they throw a party for the baby's birthday, whatever, doing good. So she rents a home for her photo shoot for like a nice house in like the nice area. Rents a home for a photo shoot. While she's there, one of like the photographers or something like that gets into an argument with a woman and a child, and he like kind of like pushes the child, and she gets so upset, like, oh my god, why would you do such a thing? So she goes over to the house, knocks on the door, and she's like, this is the most beautiful woman I have ever seen in my life. She would look great in my clothes, all this stuff. And she opens the door and she realizes she has her son in her hands. Her son is reaching for this woman. And then behind her, the little girl who got pushed by the photographer, he's like, she screams the little boy's name, her son's name. And the son is like, ah, to her. And then she hears a voice. And it's like, so-and-so, who's at the door? It's her man. And she in her hot head was like, I wonder what I would do when I met the woman who, whatever, right? And she was like, I would say all this stuff to her, say how she ruined a happy home and all stuff, forgetting that she wasn't there first, right? And she just realized, she was like, oh, his whole family lied to me, said she was ugly and she was horrible and this, that, and the other. And then so she says to him, so you've been taking my child to go see her. And she was like, so let's get married right now. Mind you, after all this stuff is revealed, instead of saying, I want to leave you, she says, let's get married right now. Say that I'm the only one for you. Let's get married right now. Because I guess it's technically not legal because all they did was a ceremony, not like the certificate and all, right? He said, so she says, you don't love me as much as you love her. And he's like, I love you, but not as much as you love her. I love you, but not as much as you love her. So she's like, I would like a divorce. And his family comes try to persuade her not to. He wanted them to basically become sister wives. Well, again, he wanted to have multiple wives, and he wanted to marry the other one, the one he's been with forever. Like, and she was like, but you didn't want to marry me. And so when she's getting divorced and his family comes over to like say, like, don't do it, girl, don't do it. She said the only reason y'all don't like her, the only reason y'all can't like did this is because she doesn't allow y'all to walk all over her the way I do. Like, she makes y'all call before you come over. She makes y'all um like she can say no to you guys and I can't. And that's the reason that y'all hate her. And that's the reason why y'all don't want her to be his wife, because y'all wouldn't be able to control him anymore. And she told the truth, honestly. She snapped off at that. And they then just went in on her. And she was like, I want a divorce. And so she left. She has enough money from this boutique. She's been very well known with her clothing that she was able to leave and all this stuff. And it's kind of a stain on her reputation. And like the ending was basically he comes over to see his son. When he sees his son, we don't really talk. The other woman who he has known longer hasn't moved into the marriage house yet. Um, and she doesn't think she will because of the stain on it and all that stuff. The Her mom moved with her. She doesn't want anything to do with them really, but anything that he gives her, she makes sure it's in her name. And then like literally the last line of this godforsaken book was, I still wish that he had been at our wedding, that he, instead of Richard, had given me the ring in the Bible, that he had married me, that he'd wanted me to be his wife, his only wife. Two stars. I finished though. Woo! Woo! Another book done. I'm over it. What the was this? What the was this? What the was this? What the was this? Hmm? Alright. Me and my shiny forehead are gonna go to bed and watch Escandalo. Scandal. Season 4. Episode 3. Period. Cause I'm over it and I'm done. That book, it wasn't a bad written book at all. It wasn't I don't know what I expected. They said it was humorous. There was not a funny lick in this book. Has anything I mentioned to you so far about this book been funny? Don't piss me off. It was a well written book. I just it was, again, like I said, it's basically that pick me, choose me, love me for 276 pages. Oh, you love her? Marry me. Oh, I just literally walked in on you in her house that you bought her, where I realized that you brought my son to meet her and her daughter, even though I've asked multiple times, because that still is your child. I would love to have a relationship with them. Marry me. Choose me. Love me more. No? Alright. I'm gonna leave you then. But I wish I was your only wife. That's what this book was about. That's what that book was. I just did it. I just did it for you. I just summed it up in a minute. I just did it for you. What was this book?
All right, hi everyone. So we are back and we have finished The Keeper of Night. And I think I'm going to give this like a 3 to a 3.5. I have a lot to say about this book, so let's get it started. Firstly, this is a very unlikable character. Very. I feel like this premise was set up so well. So basically we have Ren, who is half white, half Japanese. Each culture has their own form of reapers, grim reapers, and in London they're called reapers. She's also half Japanese, so she's half Shinigami. Now, this is in the 1800s. Why this man slept with a Japanese woman just to take the child and treat her horribly, who knows? But she is not treated well. She's the only, I'm not even gonna say Japanese, just person of color at all who's a Reaper. And she's not respected there. Something happens where she has to flee, and she flees with her brother, who is fully white, but he is the only person in her whole Reaper life. And Reapers live millennia of time. He's the only person in her life who has ever loved her, cared about her, even thought about her, right? He goes along this journey. He's afraid of the dark. He's a very human Reaper. He's very sweet and cute. He takes in cats and feeds mice and like the cutest little baby of a baby. Also though, every Reaper like section from every culture has a different type of power that is different from others. So in London, a Reaper does things with time. They can stop time. Time is their thing. And in Japan, Shinagamis are, their thing is light. Light. So any type of light. So that includes like, just like they could burst my ceiling light, but they can also burst fire, like light in general. She is such an unlikable character, not a good person at all. And the thing is, the author admits it, the character admits it, but the author still wants us to feel sorry for her, even though she's unlikable. The number one thing that makes her so unlikable is the fact that for this entire book, we know that Nevin, who is her brother, her half brother, is the only person who's ever loved her. He also had a hard time in London because he was associated with her. Is that his fault? Absolutely not. But so he had no friends. He was treated horribly, not as horribly as her. Like she was actually like hurt and harmed. He was just outcast, right? It's crazy that she finds him. Mind you, she allowed him to come because she didn't want to be alone. But she finds him so weak and embarrassed of him once they get to Japan because he's white. He can only speak English. He reminds the Japanese people and Shinagamis that she's not fully Japanese. That she just like pushes him away. And what's crazy is he is still stronger than her because he loved her in London when no one else did, and when his life would have been better if he would have shunned her. Yet they get to Japan and she has the chance to do the exact same thing for him because he feels alone now. He barely can understand conversations now. He is so difficult. She's the only one who could speak to him. And there's a couple of people in the story, well, one of the person in the story who can speak English, but sometimes they just converse in Japanese and leave him out. And when she has the chance to be that for him, she doesn't take it at all. He is the only character that I liked, loved, or adored in this book. He was right at every turn, and she wanted to be accepted so bad that she shunned him away the fastest that she could, and it pissed me off. Pissed me off. So at the end of this book, I was thinking about Dana from the series because I was like, she's pissing me off. I don't like her. Like, just because she has horrible things happen to her does not make her a good person to read from and be the main character of, because she's such a, I just want to fight her. However, because of how horrible she treats this boy, and mind you, who did I say is the only character I loved? This boy. Something happens to him at the end of this book that, again, did what? Pissed me off. That's her fault. But I need to know that he's okay. And I need to know that, no, I just need to know he's okay. Do I care about her? She could die at the end of the book too, and I would not give a damn. But I need to know that he's okay. Did I already graze through the book to see if I found his name? Yes. Is he very early on in the book? Yes. Because what did I say is one thing? I'm not going to spoil anything, but I'll give you a little hint. What did I say is one thing that he's afraid of? If you guessed the dark, you are correct. So something happens to him at the end of this book that puts him in a place he doesn't want to be. And is it her fault? 1000%. It is her fault. But I need to see he's okay. But what I'm waiting for, while I'm reading book 2, I almost fell. While I'm reading book 2, is I want to see him rip into her. Rip into her. I want to see him be a changed person because of what she what she caused him. And I want to see him treat her like the bottom of his shoe. That's what I want. That's what I want. And I think that's going to happen. I think, because when I was skimming, making sure he was okay, it said something like, Nevin isn't the same person who I last saw. Yup, that's what I want. Do I want him to be traumatized? No, because he's a sweet little baby angel reaper who somehow became a reaper even though he's so sweet little baby angel, right? And I don't want him to not be sweet little baby angel, but I want her to get stomped down a good 14 pegs. Just a good 14. Does she realize all that stuff in the end? Yes, she does. But it pisses me off that he had to be the reason that she felt all that stuff. So I think I'm going to give it a 3. But I will read book 2. And mind you, this book 2 has been available for a long time on Libby. The second I actually read this book and finish it and need to read book 2, 4-week wait, 6-week wait. This book has been available for months without nobody borrowing it. I swear it happens every single time. It happens every single time. But after I read book 2, which won't be in this vlog, probably in like a finishing series vlog, but after I finish that book, it will help me decide whether I want to keep this series or not. But if I don't, it will be listed on Pango. But we have to see first. So yeah, we shall see. Oh Lord, we shall see. Okay, so hello everyone. Now, I want to have complete transparency with you guys. After I finished His Only Wife, I gave back The Keeper of Night and Death at Morning House. I gave them both back to the library, to Libby. And then I was like, I'm behind on editing and I haven't even started editing this video yet. So if I borrow them or put them on loan and they come back before I start editing, then I'll put them into the video. So technically I completed the challenge when I gave them both back, but also technically I'm about to complete the challenge because literally like a day or two later, I got the hold for Keeper of Night, and that's the footage you guys just saw of me talking about the book. And then while I was editing that section, I thought I was going to have to redo my outro and be like, okay, I didn't read at Morning House because I didn't. I already gave back and it wasn't ready yet. And as I was editing, the Libby gods was being nice to me and they gave me back Death at Morning House. So I'm going to read this, tell you about my thoughts, and then that will be the last book for the video. So technically I've read all 7 after I read this one, but I just want to be transparent because I recorded an outro saying I did not read book The Keeper of Night and Death at Morning House, so I did 5 out of 7 of the books, which is pretty good. It's kismet. It's kismet. So I'm going to do that today. I'm going to read this. I'll probably finish it today or tomorrow, depending on how I feel.
I'll start it today or tomorrow, depending on how I feel, and then we'll talk about it and we'll see what's going on. So, yeah, I'm excited. I'm happy. I'm excited. So let's do that. Hello, everyone. So I am 50% into Death at Morning House, and I haven't mentioned I love this cover of this book so much, and I really like the dust without the dust jacket. I love the spine. The spine is so nice. But I'm 50% into Death at Morning House, and there has been no death at Morning House. At least not in the present. The first like mystery has just come out at the 50% mark, which is someone has gone missing. Basically, the plot of this book is that Marlo has an incident in her hometown. There's a fire involved, and now everybody knows her as like a fire starter, which she's not. It was a misunderstanding type thing. And so she goes away for the summer to work at this house where back in the day was a very famous house with a very famous family living in it. And there's some stuff that goes down there, and ever since then it's been like known as the scary deadly morning house. And they're there, it's about to get taken over by a different like company or something. So they're using it as a museum for the summer, and then they'll be taken over as a with that company. While there, she learns that the group of teenagers who are working there, one of them passed away while working there before she got there, and she's taking over his place. And that's basically it. There's no like, there's something lurking behind or under the bed. There's no feeling of that. There's not a lot going on. And like, what's crazy is I'm reading the back blurb of the book, and I'm reading this like little hot pink blurb at the top. All that stuff that sounds scary has already happened. Did anyone mention you're taking over for a dead guy? That's basically the synopsis. And then like the back is like she's telling the story. Marlo is telling the story. She's a narrator. She's telling it as like that it already happened, which makes me think maybe she's at the police station, or maybe she's writing a book or something about it, because she keeps on saying things like, I have to think back at the first meeting with Ricky. And it's like, okay, so she's fine, at least we know that. But nothing has happened. We're 50% into this book, and nothing has happened. And for a book like that's not that big, 50% in for a mystery, and there's no mystery nor thriller. Like, the mystery just happened. And honestly, usually like the most interesting part of this book right now is the flashbacks, which in Maureen Johnson books is always a very prevalent part of the books, is the flashbacks. If you've read Truly Devious, if you've read any of the things. However, if you know me, you know I do not like flashbacks in shows, in books, in movies, none of it. However, I understand why Maureen Johnson did it in the Truly Devious series and Nine Lives, because you need to know how the crimes went down, and then you need to know how it's going to get solved and things like that in the present time, which is the same for all of her books. However, in this one, the past is very interesting. There's like a little demon child running around doing nonsense, hurting people, but the present is very slow, so it just feels imbalanced. Like, the past is more sinister, more whatever. It's in like the 1930s. Like, the dad is into eugenics, and there's this creepy, like, stunting overtone, right? Undertone, not overtone, undertone. And then we get to the present, and Ricky's just depressed that the girl she likes is working at the Cheesecake Factory. It's just not adding up. It's not going together, especially since, again, sinister undertones in the past, and then in the present, nothing has happened. Like, nothing has happened until just now. And even that's just like about a character we've seen like twice, we don't really know nothing about. So it's just like, it's not adding up. And this is a standalone. it's not even book one in a series. Because if it was like a three-parter, like the first three books in the Truly Devious series, then I would be like, oh, okay, it's setting up for book two. But this is a standalone, so I honestly don't know what's going on. But I'm 50% in. I'm gonna keep on reading. I'm gonna keep on doing the do, and we'll see how it goes. I have officially finished Death at Morning House. Do you see it's at 100%? So I'm going to manage loan, and I'm gonna return it. Wow, I just got it today, and I finished it today. That being said, here are my final thoughts. It got really good at with like the last 100 pages because it turned into like solving the mystery. But the thing is, it's not a whodunit like all the rest of them are, and I think that's what I was expecting, and that's why I'm a little bit disappointed. Um, I'm gonna give this a 3 or 3.5, and I've never given a Maureen Johnson that low of a rating before, but it's because for like 75% of the book, it wasn't a whodunit, it wasn't a mystery, it was a like honestly a contemporary like coming of age story for Marlowe, and then uh like a sinister who done it episode in the background for the past. And then after something happens at the in the present, Marlowe just all of a sudden turns out to be somebody who's good at solving mysteries. It's a lot different than, let's say, in the first three books, how Stevie, I think that was her name, she always wanted to be a detective. She always wanted to solve crimes, and then she does solve crimes, right? That's different than a random girl who we don't know nothing about her background. We don't know nothing about her. Just all of a sudden is good at solving mysteries and solved it without actually doing anything. Like, there was no amateur sleuthing. There was no nothing. There was just thinking, and then she did it, which is interesting. But it got real interesting. That 25% that I had left, it got very interesting. So I don't know what to give it. I honestly don't. But I'm gonna settle on like a 3 or a 3.5. I don't know if I'm gonna keep this one or not. And I've all five that are on the back of this, I really enjoyed. I never gave any of her books lower than a 4. The first three books are all 5 stars for me. Truly Devious, The Vanishing Stair, and The Hand on the Wall. Those are top tier mysteries for me. But this one wasn't a mystery. It was just solving a murder, you know? Solving a death. Yeah. And I was right about why the narration felt different. It's because she is doing something, and you'll find out what she's doing in the present time at the end. But it was really interesting. Like, the actual like murders at the house were very interesting. Just the execution was not good. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so I have finished all of the books for the Clearing Libby challenge that I created for myself. So let's go over the books that I read during this vlog and everything that happened. So the first book I read was Murder is Binding, and I gave that a 2.5. I don't know if I'm going to continue with that series, but I'm thinking it's going to be a no. So I think I also will on haul, let me go get it, A Just Clause, which is book 11 in the series that I got. I don't want to read 9 more of these books to get to book 11. So, but I love these covers so much, and I would have loved to have a million of these, but yeah, it's just not gonna happen. The second book I read after that and finished in its totality was Me Before You, and I watched the movie years and years ago, and I knew it was gonna happen, and I still bawled like a baby, and I really enjoyed this book. It made me think about my life more than I thought it would, and I just had a great time reading it. So this is a 5-star read for me, and I loved it. I don't know if I'm gonna continue because I realized that there's 2 other books in the series, and it just seems like books about Louisa trying to like find out what life is about. She's going through it in those books, it seems like. You guys let me know in the comments if I should read books 2 and 3 in this series, because if they're just as good as this, I would love to. The next book I finished after that was The Final Strife, and I gave this a 4 star. The beginning of it was quite slow for me. I didn't really care about the characters. I didn't care about the plot, to be honest. But after it got to part 2, and there's like 4 parts in this book, 5 parts maybe, I don't even know. But after I got to part 2, I became very interested. And I also, the ending of this book was chef's kiss. I really enjoyed it. So I will be continuing with the series. I have book 2 and I need to get book 3, but I won't be getting book 3 until I finish book 2. Okay? But I really enjoyed this one. I really enjoyed it. I'm glad I enjoyed it because I love this cover and this is a thick girly. So yeah, I love a thick fantasy. Then I read We Are All So Good at Smiling. I believe this is the second book that I finished actually, or the first maybe, but it doesn't matter. It's all wrong. But I love this book. I gave it 5 stars, but I didn't expect anything less because this is Amber McBride. I do need to read her other book, something about a wolf, and I believe it's YA. I need to read that one, but I love her. I love her books. If you don't take any recommendation from this video, take this one. Read Amber McBride. Just read her. You will have an amazing time. You will cry, you will tear up, you will feel it all. It was amazing. Next, I read His Only Wife. This is gonna get a 2 star, and it's getting unhauled. It's getting unhauled. She baby lettuce ain't going in the trash. Honestly, it probably should get a 1 star, but the writing wasn't bad, so it's gonna get a 2. But this was complete and utter pissed off a T. It pissed me off. It pissed me off. So I'm just done with this book. This is the first time Reese's Book Club has let me down. So far, all the books I've read from this, I have either enjoyed, like they were good books, like a 3 to a 5 star. So this is the first one that's let me down. But one is not a lot. One is not a lot. She can make it up. Then I read The Keeper of Night. I gave this one a 3 star. As you saw by my thoughts, I will be reading book 2. It's a duology and I have book 2, so I will be reading book 2. After I read book 2, it will allow me to see if I am unhauling the series or keeping it, because this one on its own, it would be getting unhauled if I only owned book 1, because I wouldn't buy book 2. I'd probably get it from the library and then still unhaul book 1 because I wouldn't want to buy it. But if book 2 ends well, I will be keeping the series. Lastly, today I just finished Death at Morning House, and this is quite different from the other Maureen Johnson books I have read. It's my least favorite, but I think my favorite cover. I really love this cover. I will be keeping it for a reread in like 1 or 2 years, but honestly, I don't know. I still have to debate on whether I'm keeping this or not, because it just, for 75%, it wasn't mystery. And that's what I expect when I read Maureen Johnson, is a mystery with some little spooky elements here and there. But this was not a mystery. So I don't know how to feel about this. I honestly don't. So I'll be thinking about this one for a little bit. Those are all 7 of the books that I read for this challenge. This took place over a week long. I think a week. Anyways, I'm very glad I did it. My Libby is fully clear, so I'm happy about that. And I have a plan to do another one already about a different book resource that I use. So if you enjoyed this, please let me know in the comments if you would like another one. I hope you all had a good time watching this. I really enjoyed making it. This is going to be a long vlog, I can already tell. And I'll see you guys next time. Have a good reading day. Bye.